Sterling, when you came to me about 2 months ago, you were making $10,000 a month by working with renters, which is obviously incredible. But what just happened over the last 2 months? I actually think that you set a record, at least for my program. Can you talk about your first 2 months and what you've accomplished in the last 60 days?
So when getting with you, I've definitely doubled my numbers in my production. So the first thing I remember telling you, I was kind of hesitant on joining because I'm already doing well, how much I can do better. But just going through your profile, seeing everything that you've been able to accomplish, all I can do is thank you and praise what you have in this program. There's a lot of different tips and tricks that I wasn't aware of and that I didn't know that I incorporated into my strategies as well. And from 10K, and I went to 30K for my first month with virtual rental. So if anybody is hesitant on seeing if they can do better, you definitely can, especially with what Andy has going on.
You closed 41 rentals. You made $64,500 in commission in your first 2 months. So, can you just talk about that for a little bit? Like, how did you make, I guess, technically about $32,000 in your first month? How did you go from 10,000 to 30 grand?
One, I'll say consistency and different scripts and follow ups. A lot of things I was learning and doing on my own, watching different YouTube videos, not really learning from a coach or someone that has the expertise. And the as soon as I logged into Andy's program, the first week I was able to see different scripts, see different strategies you can implement on running ads, different websites other than social medias that I was using. So pretty much just doubling down on all those, and that's what got me to 10K to 30K, honestly. So I can't complain. Definitely can't complain.
So let's break it down a little bit then. So your first month, how many deals did you close?
First month with you, I believe I closed 23, 20. It was April, so 23 in April, and then we in May it was around 19 or 20 or so that I closed in that month as well. And then I start actually dialing back in May because from all the things I was doing, all the strategies I was implementing, I was kind of getting overwhelmed, which is a champagne problem to have. I like to say, you'd rather have a lot of leads that you can't handle than no leads at all. So yeah, so pretty much my first month with you, I was able to do 23 deals. And then from there, I just kind of doubled back on May. And then I kind of had to take June off because, I was blessed in the way that I could, honestly. Yeah.
You had made so much money that you're like, okay, I could take a step back and, relax and regroup a little bit. Cause I know that's a lot. Me personally, when I started doing this, my first year, I did about 50 deals, but I gradually worked up to doing about 5 deals a month. And then in my second year, I slowly went up to like 10 deals to 15 deals. And then third year, I was doing 20 to 30 deals. So I had that like slow build up process to get acclimated. When you learned everything that I know, you literally jumped from, like 5 deals a month to 20 deals a month, like instantly. And I know that could be a lot. So talk
Yeah.
about that for a little bit. Like, how did it feel to make that kind of money that fast?
I'll say the first thing that you did mention in the program and when we hopped on a call is that your hours and things like that will definitely increase your hours of work, which I was already willing to do. So that is one thing I would like to say. If people are wanting to get in here, wanting to make a lot of money, you will definitely have to put into the work. And the program makes it a lot easier because you know what to work and how to work and when to work.
When you were doing all of these deals, were you just doing the MLS strategy that I teach? Were you doing apartments, landlords, Google Business? Like, which one did you actually like hone in on?
So I really honed it on the Facebook marketplace and the paid rental, the paid advertising. So most of my deals were coming from like me just posting videos on TikTok, Instagram, and word of mouth, things like that. But one thing I really overlooked was the Facebook marketplace strategy and the pay ads, especially the Facebook market strategy. Once you get to that number that you were telling about on putting a certain amount of listings up there, it was to the point like I was getting about 100 leads a day just from Facebook. I'm like, okay, so if I implement this strategy with this one and the ones I'm doing, it's like it's a no-brainer at that. And then on top of that, I still haven't even implemented all the strategies that you have on there. I'm just sticking to what I've been able to succeed at right now, but I'm definitely excited to see what I implement into the next few months.
100 leads a day. That's what really stuck out to me. Because I get about 100 leads a day right now. I used to get 200. I could probably get 500 if I want. And you're probably seeing that. Like if you want to get more than 100 leads, you actually can. But
Yeah.
then it becomes it's like, all right, got so many leads right now. I want to ask you, right? Because a lot of agents think that Facebook is, kind of like inferior. And I do teach a whole bunch, like you said, there's a lot of strategies I haven't gone through yet where you can kind of get those leads on different platforms, which is something you'll probably get into soon. But just talk about the Facebook leads because you were able to make 30 grand in 1 month, 30 grand in your second month off of Facebook consistently. So it can't be a coincidence at this point. So how are the leads from Facebook? Because first of all, you're not paying anything for the leads, right?
Not paying anything. The leads are pretty quality. Don't get me wrong, you will have those in there that obviously aren't serious. That just comes with sales. But I love Facebook Marketplace now. Again, I wasn't using it before, and I just started using it in April. I can give you an example. I had one client in Austin. She closed on a $2,000 apartment, and then all of her friends were moving from Virginia to Austin for school. So out of that one lead, I got four other leads that were coming in the same price range for Austin. So, and that's just off one lead off Facebook. So there's a lot of people on Facebook that, again, I overlooked it, but it's definitely something that you should be able to tap into because even though it's a lot of people you're talking to, you would still sometimes get that high quality lead that leads you to other leads, and then now it's multiple deals from one deal.
So talking about that, the $2,000 rental, how much commission did you make on that deal?
100%. So $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you did an apartment complex there.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Wow, yeah, because I know that you were kind of focusing more on apartment complexes and like not so much on MLS properties.
Yeah. And so really, if you look on my pages, all it really says is apartments. Don't get me wrong. I do work with people that are looking for rental homes and sales as well, but my bread and butter is definitely the apartments.
Damn. So I actually didn't even ask you that before because I just assumed you were doing a mix of apartments and MLS properties and you're just doing apartments. So you made $64,000 by working with only apartment complexes in 2 months.
Yeah. It's only apartment complexes. And again, I live in Houston. I close deals in Austin, San Antonio, and Dallas from the state of Houston and being out of country just from the apartment strategies.
Damn, so you don't even have to be there. I mean, I tell agents this all the time that you technically don't have to actually be in the area. You have to have a license, of course,
Yeah.
but you don't have to be there doing it. Like I show you a bunch of different ways, obviously, that you're using right now where you don't have to actually show the properties yourself. I mean, they're seeing them, but there's ways around that. So talk about a little bit with the renters that you're going to turn into buyers because I know working with apartment complexes, you don't really get as many buyers out of it. Is that kind of what you're seeing right now?
Last year, I actually sold six homes, and those are all from people that rented through me. So it kind of just varies, I'll say, when you're focused on renters. But I do have strategies in place as far as when they move in, following up with them every 3 months, trying to get an idea. And when I actually move people in, I try to get an idea of what they're looking for in the future as well, just so we can plan and build for that. So I have a few clients now who actually are in the market for duplexes coming soon. So I'm already implementing strategies, making sure I'm contacting them in certain time frames because again it's sales. Their best friend can become a realtor next day, then you lose a client, so you want to make sure you're staying top of mind and in touch with your past clients too.
Exactly. And I'll even give you a little tip right now, right? So for apartment complexes, as you're finding out now, you're not going to convert as many into buyers, especially not right now, because the type of people, that are looking for an apartment complex, they more so are comfortable in the, 1,500 square foot, kind of like two bedroom, two bath, high rise. They don't really necessarily want to buy like a single family home, that has like a yard and everything. They don't like need that. They're not looking for that right now. So I'll even give you a tip if you want to close more buyers, like if you want to turn a lot more renters into buyers, try some MLS properties. I know it's kind of it's like it's different than what you're doing right now, and it is a little bit more work, but you will get significantly more buyers. I swear to God, if you're closing 20 MLS properties a month, you will get at least at least two buyers out of that every month. You're not gonna have to wait until they get into a property and then move, because the type of people that want like a single family house to rent, maybe like $3,000 price range, give or take, they actually would prefer buying a house. So you could actually convince some of them to buy a house instead of rent, because like you said, you're getting 100 leads a day. If those were single family houses or like townhouses, you would actually be able to convert some of them into buying right now.
I can definitely see that, being the truth too, to getting more buyers because they're already in a home. They just possibly can't afford it, their credit's there or something like that. So I could definitely see that.
Yeah, and it's even funny because what you'll come to find, when you start working with some of these, like, I call them MLS tenants, they're going to tell you that they don't have the down payment. That's going to be like their number one thing is, oh, I don't have 20% to put down on a $500,000 house, which is like, $100,000. And they don't even understand that you can do a 3.5% down payment. And this way, they only have to come up with 20 or 30 grand to buy a house. That's a big way of how I closed 6 buyers in my first year of doing this, where, they hadn't been in any properties yet. And I actually convinced them to purchase instead of rent with me.
I definitely implement those, and I haven't tried that strategy, and I've seen that as well. So I'm definitely excited to implement that as well.
Have you gotten on Google Business yet?
I haven't got it on Google Business yet.
Oh, dude, you're missing out. It's a new strategy that I put in there. And it basically puts you on Google Business, where if they type your name in Google, Austin Realtor, and your name would pop up under the sponsored tab for businesses over there. Now, that's if you're spending a little bit of money in ad spend. But if you don't want to spend any money in ad spend, it still might pop up organically. And then anytime somebody goes to search your name, it'll still pop up anyways. So you'll get a lot of good reviews, and then it'll be easier to convert clients because they already trust you if they see you have like, 30 positive 5-star reviews. I know you talked a little bit about doing some paid ads. So talk about that, because we talked about you getting about 100 free leads a day with Marketplace. What kind of paid ads are you doing right now?
So right now, I was doing about $600 to $1,000 a month on Instagram only, and I would say you get a lot. You definitely get a lot of leads. I was doing like it's a video of me like saying I help people find apartments, and it's another video of like an apartment deal that I was running on there, and I was getting a lot of leads from it. I'll say the conversion, ironically, wasn't as high as my Facebook leads. Yeah, in my opinion, they really weren't as high. But they were still good leads. The ones I did close were high quality tenants, so they paid a nice amount, had a good apartment, so they were it was still worth it. I made my money back on the ads and double my money as well.
Do you think that agents out there are kind of missing an opportunity then? I mean, obviously, the free Facebook leads are great, and, debatable, maybe better, if you're getting better results for them. But do you think agents are kind of missing out on even running some paid ads for renters? Because, dude, nobody does that for renters. It's all just buyers and sellers.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of agents are missing out on the rental market in general because a lot of people just want to focus on that big sale. They want that big check, which is, don't get me wrong, it's definitely a good thing. But when you can sit out the country and make the same amount and you don't have to see the property, I feel like it goes neck and neck. Just kind of depends on what you really prefer. But honestly, I think a lot of agents are missing out in the rental market, definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. If you're making 30 grand or a little bit over 30 grand a month by working with renters, and you have the average agent that makes what, I think like 45, $50,000 total for the whole year, you're basically going to make their entire salary in 2 months. You're not even working like that hard. Like, even talk about that. So how many hours do you think you're working like a week right now?
A week, I'll say, well, I'm gonna go back to the months where I've just started when I was truly locked in on your program. I was working about 40 hours max a week. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I have a lot of systems in place as well that do my follow ups, handle CRMs pretty much. So I wasn't working too much, but I was definitely still locked in every day because people reach out to you every day. You get leads every day. I was making sure I handled them accordingly. I didn't miss anything, scheduled the tours and things like that. But I wasn't like slaving. I wouldn't say I was slaving trying to make deals and things like that happen.
So let's do the math right now. I'm actually curious about this. I got my phone out here. So 32,000 a month, working 40 hours a week. So let's divide that by four, divided by 40. So you were making, I don't know if anybody can see this, but you were making $200 an hour.
Yeah, wow.
Did you even calculate that yet?
I haven't calculated that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Mm.
Dude, making $200 an hour and only working 40 hours a week. I mean, are you like enjoying this? Like, how's your experience even going?
Man, honestly, I love it. I definitely love it. I remember when we first started, I was already kind of doing this, but implementing what you've taught me, I'm definitely having more motivated for the second half of the year. I'm even thinking about, expanding, bringing more people on my team to help them out as well. So honestly, I love it. I'm gonna keep saying I went out the country last month, still closed deals, still was on my phone, be able to close deals on a jet ski. So honestly, I love I love my job, to be honest.
Dude, that's crazy. I mean, even just doing this for 2 months now, you're already about to start bringing like a team in and everything. I mean, that's just wild. Like that's why I created this program. Like I knew that other people out there, other agents can replicate what I've done. Remember when we talked on the phone, those a couple months ago, I told you, I said, there's no reason why you can't do the exact same thing that I'm doing. If I'm teaching you all my knowledge, why can't you replicate this? And you literally went out and did it in your first 2 months. Like I'm super proud of you, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. And I definitely appreciate you at the end of the day because none of this would be possible without you in the program too.
Well, Doc, dude, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. So
Of
I
course.
want to ask one piece of advice for another agent. Let's do, actually, I want two pieces of advice. One for a brand new agent. What is your advice to a brand new agent right now?
Um, just to get started, honestly, just to get started, get out there. Don't wait till everything's aligned, perfect. Just get out there, honestly, post on social media, let people know that you're a realtor, you're a locator, you're here to help. I actually had a friend reach out to me yesterday asking for advice. I looked at his page. He didn't have a single post about real estate. So that would be my first step. Making sure people know that you're a realtor, getting your name, your brand out there, and to go along with that is to believe that you can do it and it can happen. I'm a prime example of that. If you truly believe and work hard and get yourself out there, you can accomplish, anything you truly want in this industry.
What lead generation strategy do you think they should focus on first?
That's a good question. I would say Facebook. The reason I say Facebook is because it's free. You're not spending any money. You're a new realtor. You possibly don't have the funds to put into advertising and things like that. So I will say focus on Facebook Marketplace, putting as many listings out there. My 30 to 50, that's definitely what I suggest, like you suggested as well. Um, yeah, so I'll definitely say Facebook Marketplace would be my number one start.
If you had to give advice to an experienced agent that's not doing that well right now, maybe, making even less than 10,000 a month, what would your advice be to them?
That it's always room for growth and to not get stagnant and complacent. Like when I first joined this program, I was kind of in a place to where I couldn't get over the hump. I was stuck at the 8 to 10K a month. And again, that's well. You're making that's about 120K a year. It's still pretty well, but there's definitely room for improvement when you see people like Andy pop up on your page and they're doing 50K, 100K things months with just rentals. You kind of see like, okay, there's room for improvement. They're teaching it. Don't be scared to learn and get out there and actually have a mentor in a way because that's something I always had issues with trying to figure out do things on my own. But be open to advice, be open to others out there teaching you, and there's always room for growth. Honestly,
Yeah, I love hearing that. Like, I personally, I didn't have that, unfortunately, when I got into real estate 5 years ago. It was basically 2020, right before the pandemic hit. And there was nobody even making YouTube videos on rentals. Like, there was no, I couldn't even hire somebody if I wanted to. It didn't exist back then. So I had to just create this out of necessity. And honestly, for the first 3 years of my career, I did it as a solo agent. I think I closed something like 550 deals, made about $1 million in commission just by doing the rentals for my first 3 years. And then I decided that I should stop gatekeeping all this information because I was telling Nobody. Like anybody that asked me what I was doing, I would just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm working with renters," and that was that. Like I would not open my lips up at all because I was so afraid that I would get competition. And I thought that that was the biggest reason why I was doing so well because there was no competition whatsoever. Nobody knew how to work with renters. Nobody cared about them. I mean, back then it was super taboo. Like nobody would ever advise you to do rentals at all. They said it was a waste of time. And I was afraid. I was like, if I start teaching people how to do this, then my business is going to evaporate and go away. But I had so many agents that were reaching out to me saying, hey, I know you're new. I know you just moved to Florida. You're not using a sphere or anything, and you're working with renters and you're making $500,000 a year. How are you doing this? They're like, I'm struggling right now. I'm going to have to get a part-time job. Can you please just give me something? And that's when I decided, all right, let me make some YouTube videos. Let me get out there and show some agents how to do this. So even for anybody watching right now, because like Sterling's doing amazing, he is just like crushing it right now because he found me on YouTube. He watched a bunch of my, MLS strategy videos, apartment strategy videos, whatever. And then he booked a call with me, signed up, and literally started making $30,000 a month in month number one. I actually think that might be a record. I truly do. 22 deals in 1 month. I didn't even know that. I don't even think I really like put two and two together before that
Yeah.
he did that many.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually, that is a record. I think the agent before you, I don't remember who it was, but somebody did 14 deals in their first month, but you just crushed it, man. That's like, I, I am up like that. Generally like, oh my God, like I don't even know what to say right now. Like
Mm.
that is super impressive. I actually think you could beat my record. My record is 30 deals in 1 month. Ever since then, I was like, I don't really care to go over 30. That was like a
Mhm.
milestone for me. So I want you to hit 30 deals. And if you incorporate some of the MLS strategy, you don't even really need like the landlord strategy, or I mean, you could do the Google business a little bit, but like keep doing what you're doing, obviously with the apartments, just like scale a little bit more, just post a couple more listings there, do a couple MLS properties, you're gonna get up to 30 deals probably within the next month or two.
Yeah, I can believe it. I guess my next question would be, I know you have a lot of strategies on there. For your advice to me, what I'm doing, what I'm accomplishing, what would your next strategy or implement that you believe that I should, incorporate into my business and things like that?
I would really say grab some 3 bedroom, 2 bath, like single families. And you could do it on Marketplace, or you can, like, I have a section in there about like syndication sites.
Mhm.
Try doing that so you can get on some other platforms. And you might have to spend a couple dollars, but I know you're not afraid, to invest a little bit to make more. And then this way, you'll have extra single family tenants coming in, like actual renters that want like a house, and then use because you got great communication and sales skills, like use those skills, go through my renter into buyer system, right? Go through that. I got a whole strategy on convincing renters to buy a house instead of rent. I'm telling you right now, that will get you over the 30,000 mark pretty fast. Because if you just turn two of these like MLS, like single family home renters into buyers a month, dude, that's an extra like 20, 30 grand a month. That's instantly you're going to hit 50K just like that. And I really think that would be my advice to you right now.
Okay. Okay, cool. I appreciate that.
Is there anything else that, you kind of want to say about working with renters over the past, couple years and the past 2 months?
I'll say it's a hitting gold mine. Most people rent, actually 90% people rent before they buy a home. So that those numbers right there is most more people are renting always than buying. It's always going to be like that. So with that being said, there's a lot more money to be made in rentals. Mm.
I could not agree more. Literally, 4 million people, if you look at the numbers, 4 million, it's exactly what you said. 4 million people bought a house in 2024 and sold a house. And there were 45 million people that rented a house, which is a 10-to-1 ratio. If you do the math, and that is 90% of the market that is renting. And I'll tell you this, 99% of agents ignore that completely.
Exactly, exactly. They do.
they're they're
Mhm.
going after this tiny little sliver, of
Yeah.
10% of the market. That and all of the agents, we have what, like a million and a half real estate agents in America right now, and all of them are going after this tiny sliver. And then there is actual competition. That's why I'm not afraid to teach this anymore, because I know the majority of agents that even hear us talk about this right now, they're going to ignore this. They're going to be like, I don't care.
Nah.
It's not for me. And
Everybody wants the listing or the big check. That's really what a lot of people chase. But I'm telling you, with rentals, it adds up. It definitely adds up, and it's a lot more consistent. You do a lot less work, so don't be hesitant at all. If you're thinking about hopping in this program, I would 100% suggest it because as someone who was very hesitant and was already doing well, it didn't do anything but double my production and better my life, to be honest. So
Well, dude, I love that, man. We'll end there, and I'll interview you again when you hit 30 deals, probably in a month or two.
okay, let's make it happen.